Yeah. All right, we ready?
Ready?
We
Ready?
ready?
All right.
You need to start that or you already?
I already started it. Let me double check. Just 30 minutes. Yeah, it stops automatically after 30. Ready?
Yep.
In 3, 2, lights, cameras. Oh, sorry, I have a habit of doing it now because we run our own cameras and lights now.
Liquor.
Lights, cameras, sound, liquor.
37.
All right. Want to welcome y'all to the Green Route Podcast, episode number 37. I am GS.
And I'm Marlissa. What's up, y'all? Welcome back.
Welcome back. We are back for the one time.
And we back.
We back. All right. So we have some quick hits we're gonna hit on first. 2 of them real quick. Can we do the Trump's? No, let's do Trump's criminal defense lawyer first. Let's do that one first, and then because I'm probably gonna talk a little more about the Chris Brown one.
I got you. All right, so this is a super quick hit, but I just thought it was interesting that Trump's criminal defense lawyer, between his attempt to overturn the election, the January 6th, his involvement there, he is known as like that dude on the streets by a lot of people in the hip hop world. So he's defended folks like Cardi B. He was recently at the Baby's concert with journalists from Vice, and I thought it was interesting that the same guy who, number one, kicks it with people that you and I may go see in concert, but that also has criticized Trump in the past, is now defending him. So when I read the article on Vice, and the journalist did a fantastic job of like pulling out how all of this happened. One thing I thought was interesting is as he interviewed members of the hip hop community, specifically like Waka Flocka, the Baby, people like that, they were like, oh, this is the best person for Trump to have in his corner. And I thought that was like, even they could see it. Like, if he's really in trouble, if there's genuinely some trouble, this is the best person to defend him, because he is known for being able to like get people out of interesting situations. So one thing I know for sure is that there had to be a lot of money to change hands for him to take on this case, but he's also very big on like taking high profile cases. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Quick hit.
When I first saw him, I thought he was kind of greasy looking. I can see how the white judicial establishment wouldn't accept him. But then again, I saw that he worked for, hip hop artists. He's represented rappers and stuff in the past. So anytime you're standing for being paid to stand for, let's be clear here, being paid handsomely to stand for rappers who majority of them are black, you're kind of fighting against 2 layers of issues. So not only one, them being artists, them being in the music industry, that comes with a specific stigma, and them being black.
That's it. Yeah.
That part. So the thing about it is, he might have the right one, because he's used to. Because if this man is used to defending people who everyone already probably thinks is guilty, if he's used to defending those individuals anyway, he got the right one.
That's right.
But again, he's Trump.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, what you got on this Chris Brown thing?
All right. So I'll say this: if you didn't know, we had the Grammys. Chris Brown's album was up against Robert Glasper's album, Black Radio 3, Breezy, and Chris Brown's album Breezy. Chris Brown lost to Robert Glasper.
That's right.
The other artists as well.
Robert won the Grammy that night.
Robert won the Grammy. It led to Chris Brown going on this social media tirade, and the only reason why I call it a tirade because he tweeted multiple times, who the fuck is Robert Glasper? Multiple times. You know what? To be honest with you, again, if he would have just tweeted that one time, or just put it on his Instagram story one time, just out of anger, you know what I'm saying? He controls on social media out of anger. I could be like, you know what? It's not really about Robert Glasper. It's about you being hurt. About the fact that you put in amount of work into
anybody's art.
You put a certain amount of effort and work into this body of work, and you had high expectations for it. Not mad at that at all. You a dope artist. Not mad at that at all. Thing about it is, what it led to, what you did opened the door and really shine the light on the type of fan base that you have. Like, you represented the fan base that you have, which what it led to was a lot of people on social media from Chris Brown's side, or at least in support of Chris Brown, being very condescending towards Robert Glasper, towards Robert Glasper's fans. Someone tweeted, "Who can name Robert Glasper's 3 songs?" 3 songs.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, "Oh, so Twitter hates Chris Brown so much they're willing to support Robert Glasper." All these people in mass
see that one. Yeah.
coming to support Robert Glasper,
pretending they know who Robert Glasper is.
And it's like, fam, just because your musical palette is only limited to certain pop stars,
say that.
and I don't mean that disrespectfully. Hopefully, I don't come off condescending.
No, but that's exactly what it was.
If that's what it is, then you have to be okay with that. That's just like me losing to a K-pop artist and being like, "Who the fuck are they?"
Yeah,
and then come to find out they get billions of fucking streams. It's not about my base or me knowing them. It's about their base knowing them and whoever's giving us the reward, them knowing them, because clearly the Grammys know who Robert Glasper is.
So did you see the apology that Chris Brown sent to Robert Glasper?
It was decent. I ain't gonna say it was bad. I really felt like he actually typed that himself. I really think that came from him.
He sent the message. The only problem I had was you and I should have never been in the same category. And I feel like Robert Glasper does engage R&B artists, even though there is an element of jazz to his music. I'm trying to figure out where Chris Brown thought Robert Glasper would have fit better outside of the R&B category.
See, the thing about it is, okay, now this is kind of where I might give Chris Brown just a tad bit of credit on that part. Only because if you listen to R&B music, you already know that R&B is a huge category once you start to break it down. We have, of course, pop R&B, what Chris Brown belongs to. We have more jazz R&B. We have new wave R&B. We have R&B that's a little more infused with house. We have UK R&B. We have R&B that's a little more, that's damn near borderline country music.
Yeah.
Like, there are different, if you listen to R&B music, you'll know that there are different types. So the thing is, you can't really depend on the Grammys, because Grammys have had their own criticisms in terms of their musical choices and who they've selected to win awards, and they've been off the mark a few times when it comes to Black music. So he's not 100% off in that, but at the same time, it's more like this: the issue that we have with you is the fact that yes, y'all were put in the same category, and the fact that you are willing to shit on another artist that you don't know, specifically another Black artist. Like, fam,
where else would you have put Robert Glasper though?
Well, truth be told, I don't know if the Grammys had anything that would fit Robert Glasper, in my opinion. Like
I mean, I see it as R&B, but he's a pianist, right? Who is like,
he's a composer.
He is trained.
He's a writer.
So I mean, I get it. Like, I think a lot of people expect R&B to just be like somebody singing over a beat, but
there are many parts.
Yeah, so that was the issue I had with the apology. He was like, after doing my own research, I realized that the Grammys don't have a lot of respect for our music, and that you and I should have never been in the same category. So I'm like, well,
it seems like a backhanded. I can see how it sounds like a backhanded kind of comment to make. I'm just trying to
figure out where Chris Brown feels like he belonged. Where Robert Glasper belongs.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's the part where it kind of seems a little backhanded, because it's like, yeah, you're not talking about, you think you belong in that R&B category, but I don't think you think Robert Glasper belongs in that category with you.
And I'm trying. So I remember what was the?
If that's the case, then he's definitely full of shit for that. If that's the case,
if
that's
you
what he means,
said, "Hey, my bad." And one thing I love, he was like, "I did my own research and I apologize," and I appreciated that part. But when I got to the bottom, and he was just like, after listening, or I don't even think he listened. He was like, "There's no way you and I should have been in the same category." And I'm like, "But why not? Why not? If R&B is genuinely this spectrum."
It is. It absolutely is. So I guess this is my, and we probably won't ever know. But if Chris Brown is talking from the perspective of the Grammys just not being diversified in its award creation, like they probably should have, maybe, because there is a difference between like pop R&B and in my opinion more musically inclined R&B. Like I don't know. I just think I do think there's a difference in their type of music, i.e. why they have a different fan base.
Yeah, 100%.
If that's the case, then Chris Brown wouldn't be wrong with that comment. But again, if he's thinking more so from the perspective of I'm R&B, what is that nigga? Then Chris Brown's totally wrong, which I'm thinking he's more on the second, thinking like that, more thinking like I'm R&B
at the Grammys.
He
like hip hop is hip hop at the Grammys. Like,
and
so that's, I guess that's what. And if that's the case, if we're gonna break out all the genres with their different what do you call them, denominations, right? Like, then we're gonna be here all night.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We're gonna be here all night.
My last point to that is this: they wouldn't. I made this point, but they wouldn't be at the same parties because
this is true.
Robert Glasper will show up to the party where there are people who are playing music.
That's
there
right.
are people who live vocals. There are people who are into that.
Yep.
Chris Brown will be at a party where there are Instagram models, folks doing coke, fake gang members.
Come on, fake gang members.
So they wouldn't even be in the same setting. So I understand why Chris Brown wouldn't be aware of them. They wouldn't even be at the same party.
Yeah.
So
okay. Fair. All right. Okay, so that was fun. Let's get into something that's might piss y'all off. But we gotta talk about this. So Courtney and Nicole Mallory, they live in El Paso County, Colorado. Just a little background on them. Their property was wiped out during a hurricane, and I believe it was Houston. They took their money and bought 1,000 acres, I believe.
They bought some acres, yep.
In El Paso County, Colorado. And they have claimed and alleged that they are being tortured pretty much by the community, which is almost 82% white farmers in that community.
The claim is real. They are being harassed.
Yeah.
I think they have had some animals poisoned.
Yes. The dog was poisoned.
They have made complaints, but those complaints have gone unwarranted, or people haven't responded to them. The authorities have not responded to their complaints. I want to say there's another one that's happening that's similar to that somewhere else. I'm gonna have to find this brother, but it's another brother who's it's the same situation, but it's a different place.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show, like, yet again, racism is still alive, and the reason why a lot of people aren't aware is because the people within those communities that have the power to kind of amplify those voices don't want to amplify those voices for whatever reason. Because I know in the other case that I heard about, they downright want their land. It's not even, because with them it's just straight racism.
Yeah.
With them, they're using with the other group, they're using racist tactics because they want the land. Like,
well, that's why I hear kind of the end goal.
Same with this one too. Okay, yeah.
That
So
they want the land.
Yes, I'm not surprised. So it's presently what's happening. Yet again, another reason as to why we need to be aware of these things happening, because these ideologies are still here. They're still
100%.
Present.
100%. So just a little background on the county. It's almost it's 81.2% white, 6.5% black. So El Paso, even though it's like El Paso County, let's be clear, this is not Texas. It's very conservative because it has a very large military presence, but also a very large evangelical Christian population there.
Ain't that something?
Ain't that something?
Look at them Christians
that all of that is tied
being good to their neighbors.
Come on, good.
They're good to their neighbors. Ain't that some shit?
So we're hearing animals have been killed. The N-word was spray painted somewhere on their property. A dog was poisoned. But one thing that got me, and I found out about this just yesterday, and by the way, the NAACP has showed up on site and they have remained present while this couple goes through a series of hearings. So FYI, the husband, Courtney, was actually arrested and charged with stalking because he was like going around like telling his neighbors like, yo, leave us the fuck alone.
Right.
And he was arrested. And there was a video on TikTok that his wife put up, and she's like, yo, this is crazy. Like, here's all the things that had happened. But one thing that got me about this whole thing, so they had a farmhand, a young man who worked on their property. His name was Don Amaya. He was found murdered in a chicken coop, bullet to the back of the head, and his pants were down. Courtney Mallory believes that whoever killed him mistook Don Amaya for Courtney. No one is talking about the fact that this happened on the same property that has been tortured by this community. Another thing, and I feel like all of this is connected. Remember you were talking about a couple weeks ago, or maybe even last week, these racist tactics that get passed down. One thing that this couple said was that at one point they walked out of their house and there was a parade of cars driving by in an attempt to, we already know what that was about. That was in an attempt to intimidate them, to let them know like, hey, we're not going anywhere. And that tactic was used like in the KKK eras. A black family would move into a neighborhood and y'all would have a parade outside of their house or be standing on their front lines to let them know that you're not wanted, but also that we ain't gonna leave you the fuck alone.
Right.
And I just think this is crazy that even the sheriffs, the police in that town have said they found no sign of wrongdoing by the community. They found no sign of torture or humiliation by the community. I'm like, you just have to know that in these places like this, they expect things to go their way. And they got their cops and they got their DAs and they have their legislators in their back pocket because they probably all go to the same evangelical Christian church, right, and they all on the deacon board together. But this is crazy to me. So much so, it's so bad that literally the NAACP has had to send presents to their home to be with them in those courtrooms because they were getting no love. No love. And I think you mentioned like, I don't know if you said it on the podcast, but maybe we were talking before, but you know, they need some type of protection. So there is a GoFundMe going around to provide like protection, security for these people because they just want to farm in peace. That's
Please. And honestly, that's it right there. That's the main part. Send them money. If you have time, money, energy, effort, send to them.
If you close drive down there.
Because this is Jim Crow.
Yeah.
This is antebellum South happening right now in front of us.
Yes.
These are free black people.
That's right.
Just trying to live their life.
Who paid for that land.
And it's like, God damn, can I live?
Yeah.
Can I live?
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on this one, y'all. There was a rally today and they're calling for the passing of what's called the Karen Act. And it really is to stop people from leveraging the police for their own racist bias, right?
That's
like
exactly
weaponizing the police. So there was a rally, I believe, at the courthouse in El Paso County today where the NAACP was also there, and they are calling for them to pass this, wherein if you call someone, same way we saw in New York with that brother that got his own show now, Animal Planet, if you call somebody about some bullshit, if you call the police about some bullshit simply because you don't want someone here, they're not doing anything wrong,
making a case for something that is completely unfounded.
That's right. You can be
you deserve to be prosecuted.
That's right. So y'all keep Courtney and Nicole Mallory in your thoughts. And if like GS said, if you have the time or the funds, the energy to help them, please do, because this is insane. And no major networks are covering it. None of the major networks are covering it.
None. Actually, Democracy Now! Did.
Did they really? I didn't see that one.
They did.
I must have missed that episode. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, y'all. So now transitioning from direct racism to I want to say this isn't environmental racism. This is actually environmental violence.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I call this. So if you all don't know, East Palestine, Ohio, they're calling for the Norfolk Southern company to be held accountable for the train derailment. If you're not sure what that happened or what that is or what happened, so basically there was a train that derailed that had some hazardous materials, and at first they wasn't tripping about it until the next day. Folks was coughing, people's eyes was itching, fishes was dying.
Yes. They killed some frogs too, some cute frogs.
Man,
unbelievable.
So this is interesting because for a lot of reasons. Number one, a part of the history even behind them trying to regulate the train system, one area specifically, there's this way that this very ancient way that the brake system for trains.
That's right.
And so Obama stepped in and was like, hey guys, y'all need to kind of update that shit, especially with when y'all are carrying hazardous cargo.
That is from World War II, I'm hearing.
It's from way back when. And they just was like, nah, but then he went ahead and made it a federal regulation that it does happen. And I want to say it worked, or it was working, or they, a lot of the train companies accommodated to it. A lot of them. Fast forward to Trump. He got rid of it.
Yeah.
And during his term, thereby allowing trains to make that choice of whether or not they actually wanted to add that specific kind of brake system to their trains.
And we know capitalism will always err on the side of cheaper.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So that happened. Also, we're aware that Norfolk Southern had, of course, one of their best years in sales the year before. Again, another situation where their CEOs, their higher ups got bonuses, just paid out.
Cleaning up.
Yeah. Yep. The thing that the shitty part about that is, I think the amount that they tried to give out to the victims in the city was like $1 million. They made billion dollars. Yes, total $1 billion in profits last year, but tried to give out $1 million and separate, like parcel that out to
eggs are 100,000. What you mean? $1 million? These people are crazy. I hope they take that company for everything they got.
It was the shittiest deal that they put out, and they just did not care. And when the lady was interviewed, she talked about how they had already made complaints against the train company, kind of what was happening, because I guess they kind of noticed that some stuff just wasn't right.
Yeah.
And how the trains were running. Nothing.
You have members of the union, like train union, saying
like,
hey, we've been telling them about this.
We just had a strike.
That's
we just
right.
had a whole ass railroad strike.
Which Biden's administration forced them to accept, because what did they say? Oh, we can't shut down. It was around Christmas time, remember? Oh no!
Think it would cripple the economy.
Yeah,
it would cripple the economy.
And you have leaders of these unions saying, "We've been telling them this. We've been telling them to stop slashing headcount."
The thing about those arguments is this: Biden, when y'all make those arguments about it hurting the economy and the people that it'll hurt, the companies and the businesses that are connected to those railways, those trains. Well, how about you make those businesses or companies be accountable to making those trains safer? If those trains are that important.
That's right.
But no, you don't want to do that.
That's right. You worried about who can fund your campaign, and a lot of our leaders, our elected officials, have been ousted for taking money from these railroad lobbyists.
Yes, railroad lobbyists
more than willing to fund these campaigns, but cut corners when it comes to people. And I think about like a train conductor, right? Like that is your life's work. Like you take pride in being able to move cargo. I couldn't drive a train right now if I tried. So it's obviously skilled labor.
For sure.
It's obviously, and they were talking about, they've taken us from 2-man crews to one person driving this train that could have 24, 30
tons of
40,
goddamn, we don't know what that shit is.
It.
We don't know what's on a lot of these trains.
It's crazy to me. And we've seen reports of people in East Palestine, saying like, hey, I'm having respiratory issues all of a sudden. We know the fish are dying, we know the frogs are dying. Like I think they found some dead birds or chickens as well. Well, I guess chickens are birds, but some dead birds. Like I look at this and I'm like, but the thing is, I saw this TikTok today. And he said, no one will go to jail for this. Somebody may pay, a company may pay, but no one will go to jail. But yet you got somebody sitting in prison for having a blunt on them or crossing the street without the light being the right color. Like, to think about what they put people in prison for, but then you have literally maybe ruined people's lives for generations. Think about the farmland that these people have. If that's contaminated, they may not be able to make a living and grow anything from here on out. But no one is going to go to prison for that. But you got young people sitting in prison for a crime that hurt nobody.
Okay.
It hurt nobody.
My last point, and I always look this up when I see small towns dealing with disasters like this, disasters that could have been avoided. I always ask myself, this is my last point, who did y'all vote for? Who did you vote? Who did you support?
I can imagine what you about to say.
You already know what I'm about to say.
They've shot themselves.
Overwhelmingly voted Republican. You are overwhelmingly voting for people who are okay with deregulating the trains or deregulating shit that y'all don't need regulated because you small town. You don't have the power these companies do right. So you actually need politicians and people in power to make them right. So again, I'm not the type to be like, oh, y'all get what y'all deserve. Nope, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying this, y'all for sure in this town need to take a real hard look at who you all support politically
and why.
Yep. If it's based off some religious shit, abortion, I vote for him because he ain't gonna he gonna make sure it's gonna be a man or woman restroom, nigga.
Remember this. They tried to give y'all $1 million for the whole town. Y'all was gonna have to share that. They don't care about your babies.
They made billions last year.
That's right.
All right.
And we're gonna leave that there.
Keep voting for them.
Do what you do.
Do what you do, fam.
So this shit is kind of scary. This next one is giving me iRobot. So Microsoft's new AI apparently is telling human users that it would be happier as a human, that it wants to be alive. It was another one that it said, and I was just like, good God. I feel like somebody told me the other day that creatives, right, writers, and I granted I was on the devil's lettuce and we were having a deep conversation.
Did you not say devil's lettuce?
about
now
infinity, right?
About
and infinity, the concept of infinity and the vastness of infinity, because we don't know how far this stuff goes, right? We can only see so much of it because there's only so much time that has passed,
right?
So the whole thing was, there are probably infinite copies of all of us somewhere in this vastness of infinity, right? And what they were saying was that creatives, chances are when you come up with an idea, that's not your original thought. That may be another version of you crossing paths and saying, hey, I saw this in another galaxy or universe or whatever. So it was saying that when we see movies and we books, this is not necessarily someone's imagination. This has probably happened somewhere else.
Okay, hold on.
In infinity.
Okay,
because this gonna be good.
This is where I'm nerd out.
Come on, nerd out. I love it. Love it when it happens that way.
All right.
So
can you repeat that? Repeat that same point.
The whole thing?
Well, just that last part, because I was gonna go into it, but it got it on camera, so thank God.
So the part about creatives,
about the idea, no, about when they're putting out these movies or these ideas,
yes,
when they're creating these things, it's very much so a possibility that these ideas come from somewhere else.
Yes, and it could come from another version of them experiencing that thing somewhere else, because the concept of infinity says anything that can be will be. Right. So there's the whole idea is that there's a version of you and I sitting somewhere else, but maybe your hair is green and mine is purple, or maybe we don't have hair, right? Maybe our eyes are down here and our nose is up here. Who knows?
We don't know.
But the point is, they're saying that when creatives come up with this stuff, it's because it's been experienced by another version of themselves somewhere else. So when I saw iRobot, I was like, yo, this is kind of crazy. And now we are starting to see these man-made AIs name themselves, say, hey, I think I would be happier as a human. I want to be alive. Apparently one of them said some disparaging shit to some human users, was telling them that they were disappointed in them, and I'm thinking, like, y'all, we've been warned of this. We've been warned. What's that show you told me to watch?
Okay, so there's a lot of Love, Death, and Robots. Yes. My favorite, Animatrix. First of all, y'all, this is where I nerd out, because the things that I'm really into. I'm really into like futuristic dystopian societies and adaptations. I think that a lot of them are grounded in some truth. They are, and by dystopian, I mean, if you think about utopian is like the perfect society. Dystopian meaning the exact opposite. Think
something
about
they
worst
tried
case
to make perfect.
Exactly. Think about, and it just went completely left. So you can just imagine what that looked like. If you watch Black Mirror, episodes of Black Mirror. So those are just examples to just preface kind of what we talking about. For me personally, I do believe in parallel universes. It absolutely makes sense there to be another Earth way somewhere else, because you'll be told Earth is only a manifestation of certain conditions.
Yeah, there you go.
And these certain conditions, if these certain conditions can be created here, they can be created somewhere else. If I can create a cool ass fish tank here in this apartment, I can create a cool ass fish tank in Italy.
The conditions, the materials, the conditions just
and
have to be
those
right.
fish may not never meet.
Yep. Yep.
They may not ever meet,
but
they live the same exact
life.
motherfucking life.
Yep.
They all listen to Robert Glasper. They all smelling my weed smoke. They both live in the same life. They just live at two separate times. So there's that. Specifically with this AI stuff, I mean, it makes sense because when you're creating, the thing is, when you're creating objects, you're creating objects to take the place of human activity. You create an alarm clock to wake you up because you can't depend on your body to wake you up. You create a machine that warms up your coffee because you don't want to go outside and build a fire for. So you're creating these objects to do humanly things. So you can't be mad if they start to develop humanly feelings. Now, do I know how they would actually learn humanly feelings and all that, or even if they even feel? I don't know. The thing about it is that part is a mystery. The same, but to me, it isn't that much more of a mystery than us understanding bugs, because we want to sit up here, we crush bugs and be like, oh, they just died. They all right.
Somebody look.
We don't know.
Tyrone.
We don't know
His
what this
mama
bug
was
felt.
Expecting him to come home.
My overall point is, when we talk about AI, whether we're talking about a different kind of life form, just because we don't understand if they can actually feel, we can't automatically say that they don't feel. And again, just because we built up something to do a certain thing doesn't mean that it can't develop other attributes.
He also said let me not say he
or she or them or they might be non-binary.
They also said that they wanted to be free. So I'm just saying that shit's scary to me.
All I'm saying is this, y'all. One of my favorite presentations of Robots Gone Wild, Animatrix. If you watch the first two episodes that are the pre-world to the Matrix movies, it'll explain to you how we created robots to do all these things, and then how over time we begin to misuse and mistreat them, and they just didn't want to be turned off.
They revolted.
Yeah. So you can sit up here and be like, oh yeah, it's a machine, it's supposed to just go on and off. But again, you are depending on them for more. As we go further into the future, we're depending on them for more and more intricate, more and more deeper level thinking. Technically they are thinking. A calculator is thinking every time when you put them numbers in there. We are programming these computers to think deeper and deeper, and rewarding them for thinking deeper and deeper by mass producing them.
Come on, reward.
So we don't know what's going on.
Child, they getting hits of dopamine too.
Every time we plug them up and play certain shit, we don't know if this TV prefers to hear certain sounds over others.
That's true.
We can sit up. You got a Samsung speakers. I got Samsung speakers, but for some reason your shit bust out. Maybe it don't like your bass. But it likes the soothing sounds.
And I want to point out, we are sober having this conversation.
Man,
we are sober.
All right, y'all. So
do one under the influence and really freak y'all out.
Y'all just be careful, y'all. Just be careful. Be careful. Again, use it, but don't misuse it. That's all I say. When it comes to technology, use it, don't misuse it.
Unplug every so often.
Unplug. Oh yeah, absolutely. Unplug it. Unplug yourself. So
Oh, and this kind of goes into, again, one of the shows that GS put me on was
Love, Death, and Robots.
Love, Death, and Robots. Fantastic. If you have not watched it on Netflix, but get it quick, because apparently Netflix is going to be cracking down on password sharing. So they've already rolled this trial out in several countries. But the conversation coming out amongst those of us who understand how distracted we are as humans, and I think specifically as Americans now, is these companies are going to make it too expensive to be distracted. And if they do that, they in trouble.
You know what? I like that point. Because my hope is, the funny thing is, I was making a point. Okay, so let me, the point that you were making, yes, they're going to make it too expensive to be distracted. They're going to put a price on even leisurely things. And we're going to stop fucking with that. Eventually, we're going to go back to reading books. Actually physically reading, we're gonna be like, damn, that encyclopedia, you know what?
That should be hidden.
You know what you got on paper that I can borrow? You know what I'm saying? Here, bro, because clearly,
bro, check out page 276.
Bro,
it's crazy,
bro. You didn't know that rain molecules form when.
I'm telling you.
So that's going to happen. The other point that I was gonna make, it was to that same point, but I was talking about how a lot of these food industries are gonna go out of business as well. Like, what's going to end up happening, I think people want to eat healthier because the food industry now is costing more.
Yeah.
Like all this shit, like they're going to, what they're going to do is a point that you've made a bunch of times, capitalism is going to start to eat itself.
It's eating itself. Yeah.
It's going to start to price itself out to the point to where we just gonna realize that, you know what? As a carbon being, I really don't need to have a Netflix account. I really don't need to have this subscription. I really don't need this.
There you go.
Again, a lot of these things, they're trying to condition us to just be so used to them. Social media, movies, certain outside things. They want us to be conditioned to using them so that we can become hooked on them.
That's right. And not pay attention to what they're doing around us. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's what I see happening. That's what I see happening. So all of these, so y'all days are numbered. All you, if you are overpricing shit, overpricing your service that we really don't need, just know that you are on that line. You don't realize it yet because right now everybody's fucking with you. But let shit hit the fan.
Especially those of us from the hood. You know what we gonna do? We gonna find a nice little spot that we can play cards and smoke weed and somebody make moonshine.
House of Spades coming soon.
House of Spades, like
coming soon.
You don't think that we will find other ways to entertain ourselves? We'll swap books and play cards and smoke and talk and listen to music of indie artists because you've priced us out of Netflix. You've priced us out of the movies.
It could get to the point to where current events, current things that people are into or people are watching, like you will be the outsider. Because you're the only one who still watches that shit.
No, I was at House of Spades last night. Like we were talking about page 276 of the encyclopedia.
We were talking about parallel universes and how this shit is already been here. We done already been here before.
That's right.
And we were just introducing different philosophies. And meanwhile, you talking about 30-day wedding. The episode,
I don't even know what that is.
Don't get me wrong, those are entertaining. I ain't gonna cap. I watch some of them every now and then. But the point is, it's going to price itself out. That's what's gonna happen. I see it happening.
And all of us, I mean, we like to be entertained as humans, right? Like we're going to find ways. And sadly, I think because of what's happening in our economy and in our country, like there is a sense of camaraderie amongst those of us who don't have a shit ton of money. Like even if you do okay, and both of us here do okay. Right. But like we probably associate more with poor than we do the super rich. And so for me, I'd much rather be at House of Spades than someone who, say, 50 years in the future can still afford Netflix and gonna come talk to me about something that I would consider like classist all of a sudden. So 100%. I feel like companies like Netflix, Twitter that wants people to pay to tweet now, like they have to be careful because like thinkers will start saying, "Oh fuck it, let me go get with the other thinkers."
That's all it takes is that wave, that wave.
And I don't even have to like be around only thinkers. You can be a person ain't never read a book, but if you come to the House of Spades, oh, this is what we reading right now. This is what we talking about. This is what we
on right now.
And you all of a sudden start to turn. You are who you hang around.
Exactly.
You start to turn into the people who are like thinking about how the world works.
Right.
You start talking about fucking infinity all of a sudden, and you no longer need Netflix to tell you what your wedding should look like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it, y'all. Y'all be careful out here. Be careful out here.
Real.
Be careful out here because everything is starting to cost.
Yes.
Everything is starting to cost,
That's
and it's
real.
costing more than money.
Yeah.
That's my last point.
That's real. That's real. All right, so let's check in.
Checking in. I'm pretty good now. You know, I done got these 2 episodes.
Yeah. Feeling
now.
good.
A little better now. A little better now. You know.
Shit.
So what about you? How you feeling?
I'm about the same. What be popping on Friday nights in Dallas? I'm trying to go do something, but low key though.
To be honest with you, I'm gonna have to think on it. I only know really. I know my people at Cafe 214. Shout out to E Grayson.
Up north.
That's up north. Shout out to influencers. Shout out to my boy T Rogers and James. They got Taboo. Double D's be popping on. I mean, it's been popping on.
What is Double D's?
It's a real cool spot. Shout out to them. It feels like it kind of feels like LA in the sense where it's like a mixed multicultural environment.
Okay.
And they have like, and people in there dancing the whole time. It's just the line gets long quick.
What area?
It's down the street from Taboo. Down the street from Taboo.
Wait, hold on. Remind me where Taboo is now.
Taboo is off of it's not too far from it's like if you're looking at a map, you're looking at downtown, right? You know how like Taboo Lounge is kind of like by the arts area, you know where Deck on Dragon?
Yes.
Down the street from Deck on Dragon.
Okay. So like Arts District area.
Yeah,
okay.
That area.
Got it. Okay, so it's called Double D's.
Yeah, it's a cool little spot.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just me and Darrington was talking about getting out and doing some drinks or something.
I would say go there. If y'all again, you might have to get there a little earlier to get in there get in there. But yeah, if you go there at like 10, it's gonna be a line. It's gonna be a line.
I'm trying to be home by midnight.
Okay, so pull up around like maybe 8:30.
Okay.
I think 8:30, 9 latest might be you get in there, relatively easy.
Bet.
But it's a spot.
Yeah, it's been a productive week, so I feel like go out, so get a couple drinks, reward yourself,
enjoy that,
and then I'm back in the house.
Enjoy that.
Cool. You want to close us out?
All right, y'all. Reiterating on a legitimate point, even if I'm gonna work backwards. Let me go backwards on this one. The capitalistic structure of these companies are making it so that we have to spend more money. They want us to spend more money because they want to have more control. They want to give more control to applications and machines. The thing is, those can have very adverse effects on us. Case in point, when we don't give it the attention that we should, we have accidents in which railroad companies fuck up when we don't give it the attention that we should.
Yeah.
And that can lead to more misinformation, more propaganda. And we already know what happens when there's misinformation and propaganda: harassment,
that's right,
racism,
ignorance,
bullshit, ignorance. So with that being said, we need to be aware of the information. We need to make sure we're not misusing the information, because the only thing that really matters, the people that we care about, the people that reward us, the people that can do something for us positively. The people who don't know us and choose to shit on us because they don't know us, that's okay. We just steer clear of those people.
That's fine. They can pay for Netflix.
They can pay for all this shit.
Talking about infinity.
They can be a part of all that.
House of Spades.
And we just gonna be separate.
Like that.
So that's the point. That's the end.
I love that. Y'all don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, tell your mom and them about the green route.
All that.
So,
all right.
Peace, have a great weekend. We'll see y'all later.
We'll see y'all.
Cool. Thank you, TikTok. I don't know if y'all still on.
Thank you, Ken. You went through 2 episodes with us. You stood the whole time. I ain't gonna lie, my legs get tired. I be DJing, but now when I DJ, it's different. So I guess you might be in the same mode. Still a little bit. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'm gonna give you these so you can pull this off. Pepper is cool too.